Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about the packages. So I hope you have watched the first video on for 4.5.6 that I talked about briefly about the packages and tags extension. Again, I'm going to mention that there's a new extension with the 4.5 4.6.5 version, which is called the pyRevit tags activated, and you'll see this new panel added to your pyRevit tab, and it has basically two sets of tools, one for managing tags and one for managing packages. I've done a full review, full video on how to use the tag system. It is specifically useful for engineers out there, and this managing packages is very useful for sort of like mostly architects and the people who manage the phasing of the project and stuff like that. So let's talk about managed packages. A lot of times in our projects, look, I don't know, almost always in our projects we have um, uh, a drawing index that looks kind of like this. It has a sheet number list and sheet in name, and what we end up adding after this is a set of parameters. So I go here and create a parameter for SD set, which is this is generally how North America works. I don't know if it's the same in the rest of the world or not, honestly. Let me know if it's different. But basically, generally companies create a parameter in here and set it to text, and generally it goes into phasing and applies to sheets only because that's what we want to see. And then that's would be CD and what's it, SD, and maybe there's another one for DD. Let's actually start with just SD for that. And then we go here into our schedule and we'll add that field in the schedule. I'll actually center it like that. And then we basically show the progression of the project over the different phases. They all have issuance dates on them. And there's a marking in here in that parameter for on that sheet that basically said what happened for that sheet on that basically issuance. So the sheet could have been created, could have been it's basically these. This is a very this is sort of like an extended version of that. Most companies use set of values less than this, but basically you want to say which sheet has been revised and which sheet has just been reissued again, and if it's been deleted or if specifically issued for reference. One of the great examples for a sheet that only gets issued for reference is the survey drawing. Generally, the owner contracts with the surveyor. They do the survey. They send it to the architect. We get the sheet, but we don't really own the content on the sheet, and we have not created it. But we include it in our set of contract documents, but we tag it as issued for reference only. Um, you could say issued for reference only, like that. That means that the architect and the engineers are not liable for the content that's inside this. It's just, it's been issued for reference by the reviewers and whoever that's using that set for convenience. So that's basically what we want to do. The challenge is that when you have a lot of sheets, managing these values and different parameters is a nightmare. I've worked in different companies and stuff like that. It's too much. It's always get missed and it doesn't look good, and the wrong values get set, and it's very challenging. So the managing package system will help you manage these parameters for you on the different sheets, so everything looks nice and very easy to work with. The only requirement is that whatever parameter that you have should include doc package, just like that in its name, starting with that doc package, and also an index just to denote the order of these packages, right? Because it's very hard to determine based on the name what comes first and what not. And you can basically set this name to anything that you want as long as you have the doc package and an order number in front of it. There's no limitation in the number of numbers, so you can say, I don't know, 001 or I don't know, 120, whatever. As long as these numbers are sequential and they're right after each other, the tool will recognize the value. And also, please like keep these separate, but the tool basically supports spaces with a dash between this and the name, or with an underscore between the two as a field separator. But like in my example, I'm gonna use the space in this example. So basically that's there. You can name it obviously the way you want it, as long as that follows that format. And then that's there. And when I launch the Manage Packages tool, you can see that that package name will show up here as the first package. You can see this tool lists all the sheets in the model, sheet number, sheet name, sheet number, sheet name, and then the first packages, and it also lists all the revisions that are available in the model. Let me go and add a couple of more revisions just for the sake of the presentation. I'm going to go to Manage Packages. You can see there are more revisions. And the revisions are sort of like separated from each other by a dash line. So it's a very clear visual separation between the two. I'm actually gonna go create a couple more sheets in this model. Let's say A100 to A105. 5 sheets belonging to SD. Let's call this SD set. Why am I typing really bad today? SD. Oh, the caps lock doesn't. SD set. Okay, SD set drawing. Let's say these drawings belong to SD set. And I'm gonna add these. I think I made a mistake. A100 to A105. SD set drawing. What did I do wrong? Seems like there's an error in here. 110. Okay, I'll have to look into it. Okay, so basically I've created a series of sheets that, start there. And if you have watched the previous videos that I've done, you can add a sheet order index for the new pyRevit. Actually, you can add these sheets and then set it to integer. That's going to be order index. It doesn't matter. Just to get these sheets sorted correctly, I'm going to go under sheets and say reorder sheets based on that sheet order parameter. And I'm going to say, yep, put the G at the top and then order them based on the sheet number after that. I'm going to hit reorder. And I'm going to go into my schedule and make sure my schedule is ordered by that sheet order index. I'm going to add it there. I'm going to make sure it's ordered by that. Doesn't matter the rest of it. And the field should be hidden. Oh, forgot this. Okay, great. So, the G 0.1 is listed first, which is my drawing index, whatever. So I have one package in my project right now defined. How is it defined? By existence of that parameter, that shared parameter that belongs to sheets, right? So when I do manage packages, I can see my drawing index sheet. The reason that it shows me the drawing index sheets is because I have that sheet open. The tool is smart. The manage packages tool is smart about your selection. If you have a set of selected sheets, it works on the selection. If you are active on a sheet and you open this, it works on the active sheet. And if you are not active, if you're on a different view, it basically shows you all the sheets. When you are on the active view, when you open the manage packages, it actually filters for that sheet. So you can easily just remove that filter and see the rest of the sheets as well. But for the convenience, for the just ease of use, when I'm working on this sheet, when I launch the manage packages, it showed me that sheet only. And because every sheet needs to be created at a phase, the tool recognizes that this is your first package. So this sheet must exist on one, must be created on one package. So it just automatically commits that sheet to that package. Now, let's say we have 2 more packages. Well, let's say we have 1 more package. I'm just going to grab the name for this. And I'm going to add another one. Let's call it DD. Obviously, this is the second one. Let's say this is 50% DD that we are working on. It's the text. Let's add it to the phasing, just like the other ones. And we should set it on the sheet. So I basically define a second package. So when I go under the tool, now you can see the second package. Because we didn't commit this tool, we didn't update the sheet on the previous try, we didn't commit the sheet to the SD. So now that it's reading it, because these parameters don't have any value on that sheet, it automatically assumes the latest package as the committing package. This helps you basically commit sheets to the new packages very easily. So let's say I remove this for the sake of presentation. Let me just say we don't have this. And I'm going to go on the manage packages and say, yep, this sheet looks good. It doesn't have any revisions. We're committing into that, and I'm going to update the values. So see, the package parameter now has the value based on the preset number of values. It doesn't follow this. These values are all built in. In the future, if this is desired, I'll add configuration in here so you can customize these values for your projects. But these are the characters that are really found in the fonts, and they kind of look good and stuff like that. So I really highly suggest everybody start using these. It's not really a preference and stuff like that. They're very visual, and and I'll show you how it works and whatnot. They kind of are very visual, easy to identify. It's sort of match what you see in here to some degree. So it uses those built-in values to set that sheet on these parameter. So as you can see, we committed that sheet into that ST package. Now, I obviously want to do this to all the sheets. So let's remove that boundary, the filter. So you see the commit on that, and then update, and it would commit all the sheets to that package. Now I want to go and add a new package. So that's my next package. Text, phasing, sheets. Everything looks good. I'm going to go to my schedule and add it here. And this is generally the best way to do it. Don't add all these different packages at the start of the project because it confuses the hell out of everybody. They're not very easy to read. Do it as you wish, and then you can obviously the parameter names you could be modified. They could be modified here. So you can just say that and that, and everything looks good. Obviously, we added this when the parameter didn't have the doc package inside it, so that follows the old naming system. So let's say the SD, a 50% DD, and the dates in front of me. Now, when I go and open the Manage Packages tool, it recognized that because it has values, it knows that we committed these sheets at the SD phase. And because it knows that every sheet must have a commit on the package, it automatically commits all these sheets as issued in the new package that's upcoming. Obviously, it doesn't write these values unless you say update sheets. But it basically shows you how this system works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and create a couple of new sheets. It's the, I don't know, AB100 to B110 DD sheets. I'm going to add these sheets into it. Oh my God, I'm bad today. B100, B110, tab, DD sheets. Okay, my tile block, selectors. So that's basically, we added a set of new sheets for the DD phase. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to sort of like define whether these should be committed or not. The first thing I want to do, I want to make sure that they're ordered correctly. So I'm going to fix the order, bring that to the top, A's and B's, and I'm going to reorder the sheets so they go into the correct order. Everything looks good. Now I'm going to open the Manage Packages. I'm going to clear this so I can see all my sheets. And as you can see, all the new sheets that we created, because we have a different new package, and they have not been committed to the original package, they all adopt the creation commit in this new package. Now, there's only one point about this. So you could modify this as you wish. Let's say I see it to say that, well, this really belongs to the SD package. I can double click on any of the cells and set the commit type on that cell. So I'm going to say this was created here, and it automatically changes the commits on the other ones as well. Or you can say in this phase, this sheet is deleted. Or you can say in this phase, this sheet has been merged with another sheet. Or this sheet has been updated. Or this sheet was not created, this is just issued for reference. And it understands that it needs to continue that value for the rest of the packages. So it can very easily modify the lifetime of these sheets across the different packages. So I'm going to update that. You can see all these new up values listed there. Let's go and add a couple of more parameters. I'm going to add one for here, and then let's do a CD. Okay, let's do this, and then launch packages. Let's clear that. Okay, so you can see, because we committed all these new sheets in the DD, we updated everything. They remember the commit phase package, and you can see the rest of the packages, they issued for reference, obviously continues as issued for reference. All the other sheets gets committed as issued to that sheet. The sheets that get merged and deleted, they don't continue because they've been merged into another sheet or have been deleted from the set. You can also use these tools to manage your revision. So I can say, like, this is the drawing index that I have, the sheet that I'm on right now. I can say that this sheet has been revised in this under this revision. So you can see that there's an R in front of it that says that that sheet has been revised in that revision. So you can say update. And for the sake of this presentation, I've added a giant revision schedule on this title block that belongs to the title block. So you see that it lists that revision. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say I'm going to add another revision to this too. And you can say update sheet, and it applies that revision to it too. You could obviously go and remove this, the revision. Or if you have a revision cloud on the sheet that mandates a specific revision, let's say you have one for revision 2 that mandates it there. If you go under manage packages, you can see that there is it's revised read only. I can't change this because it has clouds on the sheet. But you can still see that that's part of the revision. If I have a bunch of revisions, let's delete this. So it's not read-only. If I go under revision and I say that this sheet ended actually here, it removes everything else from it basically ends the life of that sheet there. So when I update, it removes the extra parameter values, it removes the revisions off of that sheet and everything else, and makes sure everything is organized and tidy and nice like that. So it's a very easy way of managing all these different values across the different package parameters that you have. And the ends of this lifetime history is basically they're modifiable. So you can say, actually, this was deleted here. And you can see it only gives you the ones that are valid at that point. So it stretches the deleted there. And I can say, well, this was actually created here, not there. So you can change you can stretch the boundaries of this as much as you want, and you can change the inner comments to update it or whatever the other values that you have, and you can always update the sheet like that, and then your sheet index will always reflect that. So I'm going to go here and add the other two parameters in here too. Sure they're all centered. Let's remove that tag package from the name. Okay. So the representation is very easy to see that sheet ended here. You can also go in and, I don't know, however you want to modify your own schedules, but basically you can add conditional formatting to these too. So if it doesn't have any value, let's see, set these to a different background color if they don't have any values, and it would make it even more clear what the status of that sheet is. Okay, set in all these four. Great. And you can see that that sheet ends here. Basically, it doesn't continue after that. And you can also, in your schedule, you can't select all the revisions as far as I know, but you can say what's the current revision number on that sheet. So if I go into manage packages and my sheet, say, well, first of all, if I try to set the scheduling here, it says no changes allowed at this point because the sheet has ended early. So I'm going to change that to an issued. It continues on, and I'm going to set the revision 1 on this sheet. So I should be able to see that revision 1 is the latest revision on that sheet. So that's also a great way of do that here, and you can see that that's also a great way of doing. I'm going to get rid of this for now. A great way of basically showing the lifetime of your sheet in your sheet index. And it makes it very clear, like the values here. Let's say I want to, in DD, I want to set what sheets have been updated in DD. I'm going to go and open my manage packages, close this. Under DD, I can go, well, this was the DD 90%, let's say. I'm going to mark all these sheets as updated. And generally what you do is that you don't obviously change it like this. Generally, whenever you're working on a sheet and you create that and you want to commit to it, while you're on that sheet, you open the manage packages, set the values for that sheet, close it, and you're good to go. Because generally we go sheet by sheet. But basically, because these values are sort of like black dots, you can very easily see what sheets have been modified in this revision, in this package. And then the starts are very easy to see what package this sheet got introduced to in, and then it's just whatever the other values. Generally add a legend to this for everybody to see what's happening, and then the ending is also denoted by an X. This is pretty much everything about the tool. Honestly, it's a fairly simple tool. It just has a very good visual representation of the lifetime of each sheet across the different sets and also the sort of like revisions that you have on these sheets. It also obviously reads the values of different revisions. So if you go use the revision tools to set a revision, let's say, I don't know, I want to say 2 on a random number of sheets. I want to set that, and I'm going to set it, and I can see that the sheets are revised. And when I read it, obviously it reads the revisions on those sheets as well. So you can see sort of like the lifetime of the sheet on these packages and revisions. And the packages and revisions are kind of work slightly different from each other, because you have to commit a sheet to a package, but you don't have to apply a revision to it. So that's why there's a distinction. There's a visual distinction between the packages area and the sheets area. I'm sorry, the revisions area, because there's you see fixed lines, what is it, solid lines in here and dashed lines in here, because a sheet doesn't really have to have a revision. It could belong to any of these revisions, but that revision is part of the history of that sheet. So sort of like that's how the system works. You can't really remove a commit from here, because that sheet needs to make a decision about what kind of change it is doing, if any, on that package. The minimum is basically issued, reissued, or issued. That's just it's the previous sheet. We have reissued it again. There's not much changes to it. If it's updated, you can mark it as updated, and you can see that that sheet has changed on that package. So it's a very easy way of doing this. This is pretty much everything about it. You can see that the value is updated and everything else. There's not really much else into it. Let me know if you need more features added to this. Test it out. And then one last thing is that the user interface is pretty smart about it. So if you have a lot of packages and stuff like that, the packages and revisions area is supportable independently of the sheet and sheet name. So it's a pretty nice interface. The only thing that is that I've tested it on large models that has, like, I don't know, hundreds of sheets. It works fairly well. The slider, the vertical scroll bar, might not be responsive because of this, controls that are exist inside each one of these cells, and there's a lot of them and stuff like that. But it should be fairly okay to use it, and with no serious issues. Let me know if you see anything, and how I'm hoping that this would really help you manage your the lifespan of each one of these sheets very easily using this tool. Thank you.